This is Prince Handley coming to you with 100,000 watts of pure love. The voice of Israel and for Israel. I want to talk to you today about future news now, future weapons now. Specifically, code red, the EMP threat urgent priority. Israel and the United States are targets of EMP weapons attack. EMP, the electromagnetic pulse, occurs when a nuclear device is detonated either from aircraft or missiles or from a terrorist device as small as a beer can. The most potentially damaging would be from a high-altitude nuclear explosion. Both Israel and the USA are militarily on ultra-high technical systems. An EMP device would disengage sophisticated electrical gear like sensors, power grids, and computers. EMP attacks could be delivered to Israel from a freighter by Scud missile or an Iranian Shahab missile off the Mediterranean coast, or to the United States off the Pacific coast in the west, the Atlantic coast in the east, the Gulf of Mexico in the south, or the Great Lakes in the north. Dr. Fred Levin, retired U.S. Navy commander and government consultant, states that on a 1 to 10 scale, the threat is a number 8. Listen to the rest of this podcast or read the show notes, and you will see that an EMP attack would also result in no refrigerators working, dead livestock, decomposition of food, factories being closed, military standstill, communications stopped, and failed businesses. The Mossad and the CIA know this. The IDF and Amman and U.S. Armed Forces and the Pentagon know this. They do not want you and the general public to know this, as it will bring alarm. However, I want you to know so that you will know what to do for your protection, your family protection, your business and economic protection, and for the protection of Israel and the United States. Let's talk about how EMP works. An EMP nuclear detonation produces an electromagnetic field with a superfast transient pulse, which couples itself to power lines, cables, antennas, and sends an electric surge or a spike. It literally fries the electronic system in a vehicle, resulting in no ignition. Lights and windows will work because of the battery, but the auto will not run. Terrorists could wipe out Ben Gurion Airport or Kennedy Airport, for example, plus a host of other targets. Air traffic control would become disabled. There would be no communications. Planes in the sky would be left flying blind and would crash after running out of fuel. EMP devices can be used in the size of beer cans. No need for air attacks. Terrorists can target financial centers. For example, the New York Stock Exchange could be wiped out with individuals and companies losing billions, possibly trillions of dollars. An air attack on either Israel or the United States could take months or even years from which to recover. However, a hand EMP device the size of a beer can, which have been made in Russia, could be used at airports, financial or communication centers, hospitals, power companies, police or military bases, and urban traffic and transit control centers. So it does not have to be an attack from the air. Militarily, EMP weapons can disable vehicles, even heavy armored vehicles, in a single hit. Data transfers are also jammed, resulting in no communications, which would affect medical, military, financial, personal, power, water, lights, sanitation, and other areas of human endeavor. Either country, Israel or the United States, would be brought to, for all practical near-term purposes, an irreversible standstill. The results of an EMP attack? The first 24 hours would be absolute chaos. An EMP attack would reach apogee in a matter of minutes. It would destroy GPS, telecommunications, water delivery, and power grids. The greatest damage would be from a nuclear detonated device 40 to 400 kilometers, or say 25 to 250 miles above land. An air attack could wipe out all of the United States and probably the North American continent. However, it could be fired from a freighter by a Scud or Shahab missile off coastal waters. Such a coastal attack from a freighter in the Mediterranean could easily shut down all of Israel. A terrorist EMP attack might profoundly affect any major city. However, because of the high cost of real estate and traffic issues, some major businesses have relocated valuable assets outside of major urban areas, and they have taken other measures to protect themselves. Therefore, the long-term economic and technological impact of such an event might not be as grave as previously imagined, depending on the nature of the original attack. A common scenario is detonation of a device using long-range missiles available only to major military powers. The greater the altitude, the greater the destruction. An EMP device fired from 30 miles altitude in the United States Midwest could shut down 6 or 7 states. However, an offshore detonation at high altitude would disrupt both an entire coastline and regions for hundreds of miles inland. Moreover, a high-altitude burst could be positioned over international waters by means of a missile of low accuracy, launched from a ship, even a freighter, also in international waters. North Korea, Iran, and Pakistan, for example, have Scud-derived missiles of more than adequate capability to do this. Likewise, the Iranian Shahab missile. Such an attack on either Israel or the United States would take either country, even though Israel attained statehood in 1948, back to the 1800s as far as technology is concerned. Can you imagine what it would be like to live in that state? Let's talk about assessment of the current threat. I already mentioned that ex-U.S. Navy Commander Lavian that the threat is number 8 on a 1 to 10 scale. A report from the Federal Commission in the United States to assess the threat to the United States from electromagnetic pulse, or EMP attack, has painted a bleak picture for America under such attack. Electricity grids down, uncontrolled fires from exploding gas transport systems, no communication to summon firefighters, and if they could come, no water to battle fires, all in city after city after city. The 200-page report says Americans should look to past incidents, then multiply those impacts by the number of cities that could be hit by such an attack. For example, of a past incident, San Diego County in California, the Water Authority, and San Diego County Gas and Electric Companies experienced severe electromagnetic interference. Both companies found themselves unable to actuate critical valve openings and closings. This inability necessitated sending technicians to remote locations to manually open and close water and gas valves, averting, in the words of a subsequent letter of complaint by the San Diego County Water Authority to the Federal Communications Commission, a potential catastrophic failure of the aqueduct system. This report also explained the potential impact could have included an aqueduct rupture, with disruption of service, severe flooding, and related damage to private and public property. The source of the 1999 problem? An errant radar on a ship 25 miles off the coast of San Diego, the report said. A simple problem caused a potential catastrophic failure. Think what an EMP attack would do. So let's talk about what to do. Israel, attack Iran now, before it's too late. Study my last podcast, 2008-07-28, that's July 28, 2008, titled Secret Israel Timeline, When to Attack Iran. And now what to watch for? In the Tanakh, the prophet Daniel in Ketuvim tells us of a coming world dictator who will make a treaty, a covenant, with Israel for 7 years. You can read that in Daniel chapter 9, verse 27. As concession for signing this treaty, the New World Order leader will allow Israel to build her temple in or near the Temple Mount. This coming world leader, the false Messiah, who will be chosen by the New World Order, a combination of the EU, the UN, and the League of Arab States, will then, in the middle of the 7 years, after 42 months have passed, go into the temple and desecrate it. He will cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. He will blaspheme God and even claim that he, the false Messiah, is God. This will usher in the next 42 months, the last half of the 7 years, which will be the time of greatest persecution the Jewish people have ever known, greater than the Holocaust under Nazi Germany. We also know that the Brit Hadashah, the New Covenant, you can read in Matthew chapter 24, verse 15, tells us that Yeshua validated the prophecy of Daniel, saying, "When you therefore see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso reads, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh saved. But for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened. Then if any man shall say to you, the Messiah is here, the Messiah is over there, believe it not. For there shall arise false messiahs and false prophets, and they shall show you great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore if they say unto you, behold, he's in the desert, don't go there. Behold, he's in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning comes out of the east and shines even to the west, so also shall the coming of the Son of Man be." The end of quote. My friend, the false Messiah will come into office first as a peacemaker. He will use the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the Iranian-Syria-Middle East conflict, and the city of Jerusalem as his bargaining chips. Do not be deceived. Do not trust the New World leader. Make sure that you know the real Messiah. Pray to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Ask him to reveal to you if Yeshua is really your Messiah. And if he does, then receive him and do what he asks you to do. After you know the real Messiah, you will be able to claim his protection, the blood covering. The Torah tells us in Leviticus chapter 17, verse 11, that the blood is an atonement, kafar, a covering for the soul. Speak the blood of Messiah over the door of your heart, over yourself, and over your home by faith. Ask God to protect you. This has been your friend, Prince Handley. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai.